Good morning and welcome to the Raben Report. I'm your host, Elliot Raben, so get ready to get triggered.
Good morning and welcome to the Raben Report. I'm your host, Elliot Raben, as you might have heard in our intro, and with me, as usual, is my expert panel, Marshall, Adam, and Daniel. How are you guys?
Good.
You're doing great.
Good. Well,
That's good to hear. So, welcome to the show. Welcome York University and U of T, who hopefully will be tuning in for the first time. I shared our feed to the group chat. I didn't pull out my notes, but how has your week been, guys?
It's been hot out on the campaign trail.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that green shirt.
So, we're going to talk about that a little later in the show. But before we start, I want to say, in accordance with Spirit Live rules and regulations, all opinions expressed are not those of Ryerson or Ryerson faculty. They're only those of the individual commentators. Viewer discretion is advised. So let's start with our recap of the week. The first story is that Canada has now officially changed the national anthem.
Officially?
Officially. So now
they wrote it down a couple months
so
ago.
now it's officially done.
Hello.
It went from our sons to
Their sons?
to
in all of us command.
In all of us command. Yeah.
So it was
Instead of
in all of thy sons command to in all of us command.
in all
So
of us. Okay.
So what's your take on that? I mean,
It's not a big deal for me. This doesn't fix any of the problems facing the transgender community, like housing and murder and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Adam on that point, because there's a lot of discrimination that transgender feel, but just changing the word out of one song, it's not going to solve the real problems with marginalized groups.
To my understanding, it wasn't necessarily didn't have to do with transgender people, did it? Wasn't it just for women's equality? Wasn't that
it was
the
for
idea behind
including
it?
I feel like the whole point of that though would be like it switches from like a gender neutral lyric, I guess, so I'm switching it from a masculine associated like.
Because I think the idea was it was a private member's bill, and the idea was that in all thy sons command is too focused on males and the patriarchal society that we live in. So I mean, maybe there was some targeting towards benefiting transgender people I wasn't aware of. But I hadn't heard anything about that.
Well, that's what I assumed it was. I didn't look too much into it because it's really, really not that big of a deal for me. You know, people who sing the national anthem are proud Canadians for better or for worse, and they should sing the national anthem however it is written. It doesn't change the tempo. It doesn't change, you know, the glory of it. I think that not a big deal. But keep going. Sorry I interrupted you.
Oh no, it's okay. And you know what? You're right. It's not a big deal, and that's I think a part of the greater problem. Is that it's not a big deal because our current Canadian national anthem is rooted in rootlessness, essentially. It's the same with our flag, which is again rooted in sheer rootlessness. Our flag means nothing. It literally means nothing. Like if you look into it, you can use the Google machine right now. Our flag means nothing. It's just an arbitrary design. And I mean that's I think a problem dating back to pre-Confederacy and something that plagues Canada to this day is rootlessness. And so the anthem, it's been changed before. This isn't the first time. And of course we know originally it was God Save the Queen was our anthem for a long time. And unofficially the Maple Leaf Forever was our anthem, which I think is a much superior anthem.
I haven't even heard that.
It's fantastic.
I'll go check it out.
And Oh Canada, you know, I like the French version. I'm not so big on the English version.
I like the French version.
Yeah.
And
I always sang along when it came on.
Yeah.
Like in elementary school.
lyrically, especially, like I think
had
that,
to in school because I did French immersion, so I had no choice.
and so you would understand the translation exactly.
Yeah.
And I think lyrically it's a lot more significant. And now I don't want to claim what I'm about to say as my own, because this is a point brought up by Daniel Boardman, who's runs a show similar to ours called Civil Space. And Daniel and I have had our disagreements, but I think he was spot on here when he said it was already gender neutral, the national anthem. And All Thy Sons Command was one part referring to the men fighting in Vimy Ridge. But
don't you feel like that could like lessen the severity of like Vimy Ridge? Like we're not recognizing it.
Yeah, it takes, it like I guess it
Yes.
dehumanizes.
Right.
Like for me personally, I it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. But I just feel that it's rewriting history, and I'm always like, not for that. You can do rewrites and whatnot, but I just think it's a national anthem. It's one word, and again, it's something small that will not. It's not a solution for the greater issue at hand, which is equality and
Right.
And so
stuff like that.
Back to what you were saying.
What you got to realize is that the national anthem is essentially a big part of is the story of Vimy Ridge, and not only the male soldiers who were fighting in Vimy Ridge, because this is World War I, you didn't have women fighting, but also the women who took over the factories and the farms. We stand on guard for thee. That's God keep our land. We stand on guard for thee. That's a reference to Nellie McClung and the other. I'm not sure if there was a name for this movement, but of all the women taking over the duties of the country that were formerly done by men, and they were guarding the country just as much as the men fighting in Europe were. And I think that they're both equally important and good to recognize in different ways. And I think that this it's unfortunate, but it's really just. It's just how things are in our country. The legacy of Oliver Mowat and Lester B. Pearson of rootlessness.
Yeah, I feel like this change has been like made just for the sake of like raising all of these identity politics issues, like addressing them, because like I feel like it's also like they changed the way because they changed the word because it would. They advocated for changing the word for the sake of trying to be progressive and stuff like that, but in reality, like you're kind of like disregarding like the Canada's history, right? But I feel like there's like, if it shows that we can do this by just changing one word, then we shouldn't have a problem with changing our anthem so it can better reflect our Canadian values and stuff like that. So I feel like that's something that we could do like in the future, like if we have any more inconsistencies with our anthem in the future, but I don't think they're going to change it anytime soon.
I think we
that.
should just reinstate the Maple Leaf forever, as our friend Kevin Gomez suggested in the comments. And I'd like to shout out my buddy Pierce, who's watching from just outside of Manchester, England. I met him at a bar the other week, and good conservative boy from the UK. So thanks for tuning in, Pierce.
And so just to again tell our viewers, we are a neutral show in terms of political. In terms of politics, biases, but we are different in terms of political views. Before we get to our next subject, I want to give a shout out to Victoria Petinarelis. I hope I said that right, but happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Victoria.
Yeah,
happy birthday.
Feliz cumpleaños. So the next subject is, I guess I was going to talk about Julian Assange, still wanted, but
the WikiLeaks guy, right?
Yeah, the WikiLeaks guy. So he's still got a warrant for his arrest, even though he's not wanted for questioning anymore. But I feel like we can talk about what Marshall mentioned, which is Larry Nassar.
Rotten
right?
Hill. Rotten Hill. Not Marshall. Larry Nassar.
Good.
Rotten Hill.
So you want to tell us about that, Marshall?
Yeah, so I mean, the story of Larry Nassar is pretty well known at this point. He had sexually assaulted, was it over 150 girls? He was a fitness doctor for the U.S. women's gymnastics team. And he was sexually assaulting young girls right in front of their parents. And, they put their trust in him as a medical practitioner, and he violated that trust, and I think he's disgusting. And now I recommend that all of you watching tune into this video after the show. Don't stop the show. Of Randall Hargraves was his name, who was a father of 3 girls who were molested by Larry Nassar. He appeared
I saw that.
He appeared in court to give a statement, and essentially what he said is he he first goes, "You son of a bitch," and the judge tells him no profanity, and he asks if he can have 5 minutes in a locked room with Nassar as part of the sentencing, and the judge denies his request, of course. He asks for 1 minute, and the judge denies his request, and so he jumps over the bench and lunges at Nassar and ends up being taken down by the police. He was then pardoned because the judge understood where he was coming from and because he apologized. And I think it was really interesting. I'm not going to lie, brought a tear to my eye when I watched it.
It's pretty scary stuff.
I was just, like, I know, I got pretty emotional watching that. I was thinking if I was in his position, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Of course.
And you know what? Like, Nassar has been sentenced to upwards of 175, as much as 175 years in prison.
Yeah.
Minimum 50 with good behavior.
Good. I don't think that should even be possible.
See, that's the thing that like it destroys me because like it's like the faith in our legal system. Like, do we actually think that we can actually rehabilitate these people?
I don't.
Because some people really genuinely, exactly right. That's a genuine majority like consensus that we come to with people who commit very serious crimes, right? So,
and I mean, you know. How old is he now? He's in his 50s already.
So he got away with that for how like
for a long time.
No, but he's dying in jail.
He is, and I mean he won't last.
I sure hope he doesn't get the death penalty because that just takes away
no,
all
he
the
won't.
torture.
They already
that he
ruled
should
out
suffer.
the death penalty.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they want him to suffer.
Yeah, he won't.
Better.
He won't die of old age in prison.
I haven't been following the story.
No, Marshall's right. Sex offenders get the worst treatment from other inmates.
I forget if
he'll be made
child sex offenders, right?
Exactly, because those guys, a lot of them have kids, and the lifers in there, they don't care about good behavior. They don't care about trying to get it early. He'll be made the girlfriend of a bigger man, and he'll have a hell of a time.
I forget if it was one thing. I forget who was mentioning it, but one form of humiliation that they do if they can't get to the person, like if they actually want to attack them, is every single prisoner when they come in, they'll like wet something like with their own piss or like their own urine, right? And then they'll just like splash it like onto them as a form of humiliation.
But I remember reading about who was the football coach that molested a bunch of players.
Yeah, it was like about like 5-ish months ago. I saw.
It was a while ago. It was an old guy.
No, but they I think someone was reporting it like I think 5 months ago or something like
What's
that.
his name?
It was from like what's it called? A private school?
Yeah,
a private school in New York, right? Something like that.
Maybe, I don't know. I forget his name, but apparently the inmates of the jail sang "The Wall" by Pink Floyd over and over again to him. And the line in that song is, "Hey teacher, leave those kids alone." Over and over and over again for something like 7 hours. They just yelled it into his cell.
Good.
So
Jerry Sandusky, back from 7 years ago,
Jerry Sandusky.
Penn State.
Penn State. Okay, never mind. I'm thinking of a different case where someone he destroyed a football team.
I remember it was like a memorable name. So
it was like Penn State is like a university, but it's got a high school.
So. As much as this can be its own episode, we should move on to our third update, which we unfortunately have to keep short. But looking at you, Adam. Adam is running for the Ryerson Student Union as the Vice President of Operations as part of Team Elevate. Adam, you want to give us your pitch? Why should we vote for you?
Well, I didn't plan on getting anything approved by the CRO to come onto the show, and the new rules for this year is that any form of public promotion that's unsolicited, which means that like I'm putting onto you without your permission, and I know I have your permission, but I technically need all the viewers. I can't really talk about my platform, but I do encourage you all to go on our website, voteelevate.ca, and see what I have to say, see what all of our other executives have to say. On top of that, I do want you to stay informed as much as I would want you to vote for our team. I do want you to vote, period. Every Ryerson student pays a levy fee of $76.92 to the RSU. You all deserve to put that money where you best believe it should go. So check us out, check the other teams out, even check the Rhino out.
And because you can't talk about it doesn't mean we can't, right?
Technically.
So guys, vote for Adam. You can't really say anything to it, but the Raben Report fully endorses Adam Asmar for VP Operations.
Thank you so much.
And that's without Adam saying anything. So
Yeah, we've
please
always-
vote. Yeah.
I'm sure Marsha and I, we've always seen. Well, I'll talk for myself, but seen how dedicated Adam has been to the RSU, and he really genuinely wants to make a positive and impactful change onto the Ryerson campus for our future students. So yeah. Why not vote for him?
I think Adam's a very hardworking guy. He's a very honest and genuine guy, and I think most importantly is that he's the kind of guy who's gonna listen and he's approachable and humble. And he's not when we've got a democratic system like this, it's important that people are not going to just watch me kind of thing and just do as they please. And I think Adam's the kind of guy who puts the school before his own personal desires. And so
you guys are going to bring a tear to my eye.
And just hopefully based on people who've watched the show often, you can see how dedicated Adam is, and that he will definitely do a good job, especially with telling people to just vote in general, because that's the most fundamental part.
Please vote.
What was the turnout last year?
15%.
15%,
which is about 5,000 or 6,000 students.
Shouldn't be that low.
Really
should not
shouldn't.
be that low.
It's funny because we were talking about that in my fourth year politics class, 490, and talking about the idea of the public opinion, and an example the Ryerson public opinion is I don't see the need to vote, right? It's not really going to affect me that much, but it's literally your money.
It will.
And it's your parents' money. It's literally the government's money. If you're using OSAP, it's your money. Do something.
It takes what 10 minutes maximum if you're really slow on a computer. If you're a baby
if you have
boomer,
dial-up, it'll take 5 minutes.
If you got baby boomer tech going on and you're just struggling with the mouse and the keyboard, 10 minutes maximum, but shouldn't even take that long. We should have at least 25%.
My dream is 50.
Oh yeah, for
my
sure.
dream.
But anything less than 25 is unacceptable.
Yeah. No,
the
I
Raben
agree
Report
with
is
that.
pleased to offer tutorials on how to vote for the Ryerson
Oh, we'll have
student
that. We'll have that
elections.
coming
Oh,
up.
actually?
And it's not just us. It's the CRO, the Chief Returning Officer
Okay,
of the
great.
elections.
Okay.
Good.
And this year, we also have a lot more polling stations, and they're all electronic. We've gone paperless.
Good.
So
That's good.
they'll be in almost every building at Ryerson. So yeah.
You can step out of a class, you can go vote.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So let's move on, because we have about less than 35 minutes left, to our main topic, the Ontario Provincial Elections. Now, it's been just over a year since Trump was elected, and now we've got an election on this side of the border, the Ontario Provincial Election. In addition to next year's federal election and this year's current Ryerson Student Union election, voting has now become a Canadian pastime. The Ontario provincial elections are significant to the future of the province. After 15 years of the Liberals being in power, many are wondering if they'll win the race once again, or if it's time for a change in power. On today's episode, we talk the future of Ontario and what each potential outcome can mean. Again, we are live on Facebook, so for our viewers, you can comment on our feed and you'll have your thoughts read live on air. So without further ado, let's begin. First question, what's happening with the PC party following Patrick Brown's downfall? What's...
We're turning our heads over to you, Marshall.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've got an interim leader right now, and I am a member of the party, of the PC party, full disclosure. I've had my issues with the party. I think that this leadership election is a fantastic time to turn things around. So Vic Fideli, interim leader, and Vic Fideli has for a long time been my favorite MPP in the entire caucus, up there with Monty McNaughton and Lisa McLeod, probably. And I love the guy. He's not going to be the leader permanently, as of right now at least. He has said he's not going to try for a leadership bid. There are rumors, and I don't know if the leadership election may not happen. That might be too late for that now, but I know that there were rumors of the exec really wanting to just leave Fideli in. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So we've got three candidates in right now. We got Christine Elliott, Doug Ford, and Carolyn Mulrooney. And,
And do you want to tell our viewers who each person is, just some context of who they are?
To start, Doug Ford, the most famous one probably. He's the brother of the late Rob Ford, former city councillor, former interim mayor, correct?
What?
Was he?
No, he wasn't. I don't think he's...
No, he was not.
Maybe before
when his brother
Toronto
died?
amalgamated.
Never mind. No, I think he was interim city councillor.
Yeah,
at some point. He was interim
Ford,
something.
Yeah, he filled in for Doug Ford while he, for Rob Ford while he was in treatment.
Yes. Okay.
I believe so.
Anyway, and so he is very much a stop the gravy train, cut the fat from the government kind of guy. He's pretty populist, pretty grassroots kind of guy. And, there's a lot of things I like about him, and there's some things I don't like about him. I think I have my issues with him. Next, we got Caroline Mulroney, daughter of former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, running for York Simcoe as an MPP before, and then just decided to put her name in for the leadership. She was formerly a lawyer, went to Harvard, worked on Wall Street and Bay Street, and got a solid resume. I really don't like Brian Mulroney. I think probably among the worst prime ministers we ever had. And
that was in the 90s, right?
Amen.
80s and 90s.
80s and 90s.
And I think that and now keep in mind, I admire Brian Mulroney greatly. I have a lot of admiration for him. I just think that, essentially destroyed conservatism.
His deal with Airbus was really shady.
I have admiration for him as an orator and as a leader and as a person, but not as a prime minister whatsoever. No love for him as a prime minister. But fantastic speaker, fantastic debater. And so right now, all I have to go off of for Caroline Mulroney is her father. So has not left a good taste in my mouth. And then we got Christine Elliott, and who I'm going for. She's run for leadership twice before, lost twice, which is unfortunate, and people are counting her out for that reason, I'd say. However, I don't think it's her as a candidate, right? Like you look at the CPC leadership elections that just happened recently, only one person won, Andrew Scheer. All I have to say is yikes. I don't discount Maxime Bernier or Aaron O'Toole because they didn't win that, just as I don't discount Christine Elliott because she didn't win the last two leadership elections. I think it's a flaw of the party and of the system. And she's from my hometown. She's from Whitby. I have a lot of trust for her.
With your mic to the... Thanks.
I have a lot of trust for her, and the reason I'm right now endorsing Elliott is because platforms haven't been released, and from what I'm hearing, all three candidates are more or less going with Brown's platform, which I wasn't the biggest fan of.
So they want to keep it, the People's
They want to
Guarantee?
keep it, but it was only a 4-year plan, which means that if a re-election were to happen, then things would have to change.
Right.
As well, Elliott and Doug both want to scrap the carbon tax from it.
That's a bold move, though.
And so I trust Elliott the most, which is why I'm going for her right now. But if platforms come out and there's something I don't like and something I like with somebody else, I could very well change my mind. But as for now, I'm going with Elliott, and I have a lot of faith in her.
Okay, so then did you actually like the People's Guarantee then? Or
no.
Like,
oh, no.
Like what it was
God, no.
stating?
I like some elements of it.
Because they were trying to, what were some of the main points they were trying to do? They trying to put more money into
childcare,
infrastructure.
Health. Yeah, infrastructure. So the subways specifically.
Okay, that's
in
what
the
it was.
TTC. 75% return on childcare expenses. The greatest mental health investment in Canadian history. Community center investment was pretty huge on there.
Right.
Saving on hydro bills. I liked those all in general.
I do like
especially the childcare one. That is key. Yeah. I think you are not a conservative if you are not advocating for childcare expenses reduction.
Well, don't we have the highest childcare costs?
We have pretty high childcare costs.
One of the highest, right?
If
it's
you are
significantly higher than Quebec, by a long shot. That's exactly right.
Yeah, if you are not advocating for lower childcare expenses, the only thing you're conserving is the liberal status quo. So
hot take.
I think that was so good, but overall, reading through the rest of the platform, there was issues I had with it.
Right.
There was not that much to distinguish him from Wynne. Was essentially my issue.
Right.
And so moving to the other party that can change the course of the elections, we have the NDP. So Adam, do they have a chance? If so, how big is it? And what can that mean for the future of Ontario?
All right.
Well, actually, just talk about the party. We'll talk about future.
Yeah,
after.
okay. So first of all, the NDP will always get around 20% of the vote. No, even if you put a dog as the leader of the party, the NDP will get 20% of the vote. That's how it's always been. That's how it always will be.
More, to be honest. I love
dogs. the dog might get more.
So if you put Andrea Horwath in, she'll get the vote too?
Ooh, roasted. Ooh. No, but the issue with me is that Andrea Horwath's character has been questioned several times.
Right.
Several times over the last couple of years.
In terms of ethics, or
No. Just there have been several memos released by NDP party members. There have been certain notices released that she's not really true NDP. My mom met her. My mom did my mom's an occupational therapist. She had a client in Sudbury. Horwath went there for some sort of event. My mom actually rode a plane with her, like one of the Porter flights to Sudbury.
Right.
My mom says she's a very genuine person. I have almost nothing else to base it off of.
Right.
She's a very she's very outspoken in I want to say Congress, but what's the actual word for it in the House?
Queen's Park.
Queen's Park, yeah.
She's very outspoken in Queen's Park. She's very critical of Wynne's government, which I like, and she's vocal about it. She calls out the Liberals for their bullshit. So, like, based off of what I know of Horwath, I don't have a lot of the sentiment that a lot of the other NDP members have against her for not being sort of quote-unquote real NDP. But on top of that, I'm not a very educated NDP member. And if these hardliners are going to come out and say she's not real NDP, then I'm going to question that.
and what is real NDP? Do you want to tell our viewers just kind of the party, like your thoughts on NDP?
My sort of
I have some thoughts on
perception.
that too.
Yeah.
My sort of perception of NDP is sort of left of the Liberals, more sort of pro-union, pro-worker, pro sort of government subsidizations.
Like kind of big government with a lowercase b, though, not a complete total control of it, right?
More government-sponsored services, you know,
Okay.
provided by the state. Not
Okay.
full-blown communist, but more
Yeah,
sort of
right.
subsidization by the state, more services provided by the state. So with that, you'll need bigger government than most. So I don't think they have a chance right now, because Bob Rae really did a number on Ontario Liberal voters to vote NDP. So, and I'll get into that if we have time, but they will get 20% of the vote. Will it be a little bit higher? Maybe, but it won't be lower. I think that the left people in Ontario will still choose to vote Liberal.
Well, they already have like 20 seats in Queen's Park or
19.
something. 19. Okay, I was close. But.
You know,
And so-
I think the NDP party has changed for the worse. I think that the old NDP party is much closer to my views as a paleocon or high Tory.
So, like when
or
Tommy
however-
Douglas started
Tommy
it up?
Douglas,
Yeah.
yes. And the NDP Socialist Caucus released their platform, and I gotta say, folks, there was some elements of it that I liked.
hot take.
Ban Sunday shopping. Let's do it. Get rid of it. Nationalize the auto industry. Let's do it. Nationalize the banks. Let's do it. Love it. You know, the old NDP party that was non-Marxist but still socialist. I just got booted out of the Raben Report. Are we still live?
What?
I'll go check right now.
Yeah, we're still good. We're still good.
Thank God. Okay.
I don't know what happened to my phone. I apologize. The old NDP party were non or significantly less Marxist influence, but still socialist. They were a workers' party. They were a real workers' party. It wasn't about necessarily
Socialism.
closing the gap between.
No,
the,
it was a workers' party. It
It
came out
was
of the Winnipeg
advocating
General
for
Strike.
the worker. It was taking care of the workers because the workers are so necessary and so good and so important. And we want the workers taken care of. We want them to be so they can, we want our factory workers to be living good lives so they can keep running our factories.
Yep.
And I think that's important. And I think that the red Tories, the kind of very, very centrist, only slightly to the right of center conservatives, what they think the NDP party is what I wish the NDP party was. They have this vision of this protectionist, anti-immigration, nationalist, evil thing. That's not what the NDP party is or really was. I wouldn't mind if that's what it was. Protectionism, let's do that too. I think these days they're a lot more like champagne socialist. They're very.
What does that mean?
They're very like, I care about the poor because it looks good for me.
Oh,
Let's implement these measures that look great, that are very flashy, but don't actually really do much. Raising the minimum wage is one thing that I can think of, although I think the NDP's plan for that was probably better than Wynne's. It was a... Yeah.
And so, Is there anything else you want to?
No, I think
I think
was
so.
all.
I just want to
add something else
Yeah.
from the NDP. Like I think I do like the NDP. Like they're not like they have like very well intentions, but like the problem would be like lots of like government control, right? Because like it would be against all people like that believe in conservatism, because like with less government and stuff like that. Ideally, I don't wish I don't want Horwath to be in power. I think she'd be great to help the party, like to get more popularity and stuff like that. In an ideal world, Jagmeet Singh should have went and tried to do that instead of going federal. That was such a big jump going from like he's got balls. I give him that, but like
He doesn't even have a seat.
exactly.
Guy Caron is
He
the
should have
leader
been-
of the NDP.
He, like,
right
if he that would have been such an easy opportunity to seize right here. Patrick Brown,
but
Kathleen
he
Wynne,
didn't
they're
see
both
it coming.
trying.
He didn't see it coming.
I know. That's what I'm saying in an ideal world. But back to your next question.
Yeah. So my next question is now: will Wynne win?
I just want to add one thing quickly. When I said that the voter turnout might go up higher from 20%,
Yeah.
a big thing about that is Jagmeet Singh hype.
Exactly.
I think I fully forgot to mention that. That's a big thing for voter percentage
Think
to
about
go
it.
up.
It helps young people. It helps everyone from a South Asian
Yeah.
community because he speaks all of those
Yeah.
languages. He actually he's like very well spoken. He's got very good social skills. He's able to communicate with people and stuff.
Yeah, he's
before.
kind of funny too. I don't know
Yes,
if you guys
he is
follow him on
funny.
social media.
Yeah.
He's kind of funny.
We have a couple of comments. We got
But I'll stop sucking his dick.
we got we got Sam saying you're not a real NDP until you've read Das Kapital before going to bed every night. Kevin Gomez says yes, ostensibly to my comments on what I like about the NDP. And Sam says I'm assuming responding to Daniel there, less government and stuff like that. I think he was poking a little fun at you there.
Yeah,
but,
it's okay.
And then we have Kevin Gomez. His last comment.
Yes, Kevin Gomez says, pro workers but right wing and nationalizing the banks. Sounds like a kind of nationalistic socialism. Very funny, Kevin.
So yeah, my question to Daniel, we'll start with you, is will Wynne win? Like, does she have a... is she gonna win again?
I'll be honest. Like, to be honest about it, like this is just gonna be a very shitty time for the Liberal Party right now. They what is it, like public opinion polls of her 12%? That's like at its lowest, right? Or
12%. I think it's like 17 or 18 right now.
Think about it, like hydro, think about all the issues that are happening right now with Ontario. Hydro bills are going up. People just lost trust in Kathleen Wynne with all the scandals and stuff like that. And yeah, I feel like there should. Yeah, I don't see her even maintain. She'll probably maintain her seat, but. Like the,
Do you think?
I'm being
See,
nice
I can
about
vote
that
for
too.
her. Her seat is my riding.
Right.
I can vote for her.
Oh, really?
I want to post this article to the Raben Report page, after the show's over. But there's a really, really good Toronto Star article called "Kathleen Wynne Doesn't Care If You Like Her. She Just Wants to Be Your Premier."
Yeah.
And it goes very into the detail that she's just never cared about public opinion. And how she'll do all these events.
That's such a terrible
and
way
she'll,
of doing
and she'll
government.
say what
though.
she has to say, and she's just brushed off the low opinion polls again and again and again.
But
Now keep in
that's
mind,
kind of a problem, because if you want to be elected, people have to like you.
Yeah.
keep in mind, I like a leader who does that, but not in a democratic system. It doesn't work that way. Sorry, if we've got a democracy going on, you got to have people liking you. If we don't, do your thing, but we do.
Yeah.
And Nikita brought something up that I actually was thinking about the other day. He brought it up to me before. That's why he says, thoughts on Christine Elliott hiring private investigators to look into Patrick's alleged sexual misconduct. I gotta say, Nikita, I looked into it and I couldn't find anything about it. Has anybody else heard of that?
What I heard about it is that she wants to have a third party investigation. And that's just a blurb I read in my elevator that plays CP24. Like, I don't have any actual details about that. But that's, I think, what I gathered about the investigation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Nikita, if you can provide some more information there,
That'd be great, yeah.
That'd be great, because I looked into it. I used the Google machine, and I might have been a bit of a baby boomer on the computer there and not been able to find it. But if she did, I don't know. I just have to. I need more context because.
Back to close that question though.
Yeah.
Kathleen's probably gonna lose her seat. She's definitely not gonna be premier. I'd be surprised. Liberals should be regrouping and thinking of a strategy to try to come back for the next election cycle, and not even try and think just try to maintain as many seats as possible.
Is she gonna?
They should be thinking long term.
Is she gonna remain party leader throughout the election, or are they gonna?
Yeah,
change it
no.
up?
She is.
There's no way.
There's no leadership.
Once you're stuck
yeah.
with someone's shit, like you can't like.
But still, there's no vote of non-confidence.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. Like no one would. There's no one who. You would just destroy the party then if you were gonna go
I think
create
if,
mutiny
if the
from your
Liberals
own
lose
thing.
seats, then she'll be gone. I don't think she has the integrity to resign, but they could have a leadership review.
I don't know. I disagree.
Yeah?
I think that if it's finally sort of in her face that she was the fall of the party,
You're right.
then, might as well. I think she'll resign. No, but the thing is, like, my riding really likes her.
Right.
Like, my riding, Ward 25, I believe, has been very, very, like, dark red liberal for the longest time. Like, the only sort of anomaly was the 2011 federal election, where we had John Carmichael as our MP.
Right.
But other than that, we've been very, very blood red liberal, both provincially and federally. She comes to all of the different community events. She was at my graduation. She was at the graduation after that. We have a Terry Fox run in our community park every year. She runs it every year. It's run by Isidore Sharp, which is the owner of the Four Seasons, Ryerson alumni. Fun fact. And like she's very involved
Kathleen
in
Wynne went to Ryerson?
No, Isidore Sharp
Okay.
went to
The owner
Ryerson.
of Four
The
Seasons.
owner of Four Seasons. He went to Ryerson for architecture.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. In 1952. Why do I know that? God knows. But anyway,
Flexing your Ryerson knowledge.
yeah. So she's very involved in our community, and our community knows that. So I think that she has a chance of keeping her seat. Whether or not she wins the election,
Yeah, that's
it
that's
depends.
A toss-up.
It depends on one thing for me. One very big thing, but still one thing. If young people vote, if young people vote, she's got it in the bag.
Yeah, because
100%.
with Trudeau, that's how they won.
Yeah,
and-
she made tuition free for families that make
it
under
OHIP plus,
50,000.
like-
Raised the minimum wage. Free prescription meds for. I know there's no such thing as free lunch. I know you're thinking it, Marshall. Raised prescription meds for people under 25.
I've come around to that. I don't love it. Well, actually, it's not even
What,
the
the
policy.
prescription
It's-
thing?
No, yeah, it's not even the policy I have an issue with. It's the way it was presented.
Right.
Okay.
That's my issue with
Okay.
it.
What do you
So-
think of the like NDP's format of trying to do that? I think I was looking at their platform and they were introducing.
have
They
a-
wanted to introduce pharmacare, which would be different.
They have
from
a
OHIP plus,
big
right?
pharmaceutical plan.
Right.
It's like a whole sweep of subsidies, lower costs, going with generic brands,
Right.
free
And that wouldn't
prescription
like
meds for
cause
certain
any
incomes.
problems like for like,
Generic meds are the same things as
Yeah.
regular
No,
meds.
not
Life
sa-
brand ibuprofen is the same thing as Advil.
no. Like,
No, yeah. I'm not saying that you're saying that. Yeah. But yeah, it'll cause problems with pharmaceutical companies.
that's the thing.
But we don't have the big pharma that the U.S. has.
Yeah.
It won't be such a shock.
And
Yeah.
I gotta say, Sam and Kevin, I love how much you guys comment. It's great to see the engagement. So Sam says, "I will not be voting for female Willem Dafoe," and
Oh, God.
that comes from Wynne posting a tweet the other day of her eating some Doritos on an airplane, and I'm like, I will be totally honest. I looked at the picture, and this is not me making fun of her. I looked at the picture and genuinely thought it was Willem Dafoe or John Bon Jovi for a second. I thought it was fake. I thought somebody had like made a fake thing and just literally put Willem Dafoe or John Bon Jovi in the picture, but no, it was actually her. And Kevin says, talk about Kathleen sending her husband to the cuck shed. And that was honestly bad. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
What happened?
So when Wynne was married to a man, she would often have her lover come over and spend the night while relegating her husband to the basement. And
that's kind of.
I don't think that's relevant. It happened long before she was in politics. It's a bit sort of sad.
Do you
But,
feel that like personal?
now she's out and.
But in general,
safe
do you
and
think
happy.
that personal lives are important? Not just for Kathleen Wynne, but do you think the personal lives of the politicians are relevant to
To a certain degree.
to a certain degree.
To a certain
Yeah.
degree.
Fair enough.
And so yes, that's
That really does look
Right?
like John Bon Jovi.
I know.
Hold on, let me zoom into that. But there it is.
And so Nikita was able to provide some more context. He says, and this is in quotes. I'm not sure where he got this quote from. If you want to provide that to Nikita. The reason Mr. Brown lasted as long as he did was because, amid the smoke, nobody could quite find the fire. His leadership rival, Christine Elliott, is said by sources who worked on our campaign to have enlisted a private investigator who returned with nothing more than rumor. Everyone seemed to know someone who knew someone who said they had a bad experience with him, but alleged victims never materialized publicly. Yeah, I mean...
Well, that's... Yeah.
So...
But that's such a broader thing about, assault survivors not feeling safe to come out, tell their story, different elements like that. Like, that's such a bigger thing. Like, it's always someone who knows someone who knows someone.
And exactly at this point...
Because you'll only tell your story who you're trusted with. Yeah.
At this point, it's no more and no less of a rumor than Patrick Brown's misconduct. If she hired a private investigator, rather, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Do you think we'd find some dirt then, or...
I don't know, but my concern is that she did it for politically motivated reasons.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not cool. And
to discredit.
Like if you really care about sexual assault survivors, you won't do that for political motivations.
Exactly.
You'll do it with the full
intent of helping people. Yeah.
With only about less than 10 minutes left, I want to ask the very important question, which is, what are the predictions for this election? So we've talked about each party individually, who's running, what they're like, but what is the outcome? What's going to happen?
If young people vote, Liberal majority, but not a very big one.
Really?
54 seats.
For this election?
55 seats. If young people vote, because we're big in numbers.
But do you think young people will vote for Liberals? Because have the Kathleen Wynne Liberals also promoted the same things as the Trudeau Liberals, like weed?
The thing is that the young people in Ontario feel the effects of the Liberal government the most. Not in rural Ontario. Rural Ontario is getting screwed.
Yeah.
But in sort of urban Ontario, raising the minimum wage, most young people aren't, big economic thinkers like Marshall or us or whatever. They don't see the bigger they don't see the bigger problems with raising the minimum wage. They just see, hey, I get a better paycheck. Yeah, better paycheck.
It's a big shiny ball for the unwashed masses, as I said a couple episodes ago.
Hot take. So, like, there's that. The tuition thing is a huge thing for young families, for young people, for low-income families. The prescription medication is a big deal. Because most universities, like, for example, Ryerson's health plan, for those who are on it, you get 80% reimbursed on most meds, and then that now 20% is covered by the Liberals.
Oh,
so
interesting.
It's very simple. Like, I went to driving school a few years back, and I asked my driving instructor who he voted for in the mayor election, and he said Rob Ford. And I said, why'd you vote Rob Ford? He's like, well, every driving instructor voted Rob Ford. I'm like, why is that? He's like, he took the fee off of changing your license plate. There used to be a $60 fee on changing your license plate, and he took that fee off.
That's actually like real change for people to see.
So that's $60 in their pocket, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
So that's like, you need to feel change in order to be like, you know what, this guy's great. So, or this girl's great, this person's great. So, like, for me, for young people to be like, I get a fatter paycheck, my tuition's less of a worry now, my prescription meds are taken care of, who's this person in power? Hey, she sounds great. So that's what I'm thinking. But they actually have to go to the polls to achieve that.
I feel it's like young people are smarter than that, though. Like,
no,
they know,
no, they're not.
They should be, though. Like,
They aren't. Most people aren't.
Oh, like,
and that's not calling young people stupid. It fully makes sense to be like, hey, fatter paycheck, lower tuition, free prescription meds. She's my girl. Like, that's who I'm going to vote for.
You know, there's a few predictions in the comments as well, but there's only one I want to draw attention to. Is Sam saying Ontario will fly out into the sun and we will be in better shape, and I think that's a reference to accelerationism, possibly. I don't know. I might be reading you wrong, Sam, but if that's the case, he's right. I would rather have a bad Liberal in office than a bad Conservative. If one of those movements is going to be destroyed, leave mine alone. Don't destroy mine. I'd rather have a Liberal who tarnishes the name of Liberals, or even tarnishes the ideology, perverts the ideology. Is pervert's a verb? I don't know. Bastardizes the ideology.
That worked.
And so I was right about what Sam said. He confirmed that. If we're gonna have a bad PC leader, I don't want them to win.
But what is your prediction? So just
yeah,
concretely, what do you think
you're right. My prediction is
we're running out of time.
my prediction is Christine Elliott wins the leadership race and becomes the premier. Liberals lose a hefty amount of seats, and NDP gain quite a bit.
And is it a conservative majority you're thinking, or
yes,
minority?
Conservative majority.
Okay, fair enough. And now, Daniel, what are your predictions?
Liberal minority, split kind of evenly, I guess, between NDP and PC. Yeah, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll just keep it simple there.
Yeah, I'm thinking liberal minority if young people don't come to the polls.
And my prediction is, I don't know. I feel
It's tough to gauge, right?
Yeah, because
So much can happen in 6 months.
Yeah.
I
Like, imagine if another scandal breaks out, or like,
Yeah.
they say something stupid in a debate or something.
I don't think the
Just cost them the
NDP
whole
is going to
leadership.
win
Bob Ray ruined it for the NDP.
Yeah, I don't think they're
You
going to
wanted
win.
to ban Sunday shopping. I love that.
But I think that it's very likely that the Liberals will get a minority again.
Yeah.
They might lose seats, obviously for the minority, but I don't know. I feel like Doug Ford could have a big impact on the Conservative Party just because Rob Ford had such an impact on the city of Toronto that Doug Ford could work that same magic the same way. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's and your desires now very quickly, because we know what we think will happen, but what's the dream?
My desire would be new liberal leadership. There you go. That's it.
And Marshall,
And Jagmeet Singh
I
running.
don't even know. Christine, I don't know enough about
like what? No, but what would you want?
Like, I want right now, Christine Elliott wins and becomes the premier, but I don't even know enough about her if that's my ideal thing. My ideal thing is none of them, but you know, if it has to be one of them,
The ideal thing would be us, like, running.
Yeah,
Queen's
just the
Party.
four of us.
me. Or my ideal thing, we get rid of the provincial governments. I don't believe in provincial governments.
Hot take,
As
hot take.
John
What?
A. McDonald said, they are glorified municipalities. I think my girlfriend will be proud of me for remembering that. Yeah, get rid of provincial governments. That's my
Wow.
ideal thing.
Damn.
And Adam,
Hot take.
your desire?
Might as well
My
abolish
desire
the police
is I want the Liberal Party out. I want NDP Party in. I don't think any party should be in power for 15 years. I think that any leader, no matter how glorious, no matter how uncorruptible, will get corrupt. If you have the power for 15 years, for most of our lives,
Yeah.
for God's sake, you will get corrupt. You will run the government poorly. You will not do what you're supposed to do.
You're
and
gonna
you will-
get old, not just like
you
old.
will
and,
just care about staying in power. That's it. So
And
I
that's
think
with
I think it's
everybody, right?
time for the Liberals to go. I don't want it to go to the Conservatives, just because of the bad taste Mike Harris left in my mouth, in my fetal mouth. Yeah, he made a lot of health cuts that made it very hard for my mother to deliver me. But on top of
ridiculous,
that. I also want the NDP to present themselves as true NDP and not sort of what they've
I
become.
feel like we should have some sort of change in government. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I think it's time.
like
I
it's
really
always
think
been
it's
like
time.
that two-legged race between conservatives and liberals. Like, and maybe not all of their ideas are great, like with the NDP, but fuck it, give them a shot. Like,
And
I say bring Leslie Frost back. He was our
that?
premier during the 40s. Bring him back. Put him in.
My question
What?
is, do you think that Canada should
Get it
have term
trending.
limits?
No. I don't like the idea of.
I don't like term
limits.
limits. I think it's
well, if something's good.
You're
like, why
not, you're not
don't-
always
yeah.
going to have
neither.
like Mackenzie King or Stephen Harper. Most people will run 2 or 3 terms and be like KPs.
yeah.
Mackenzie
that's
King
fair.
and Stephen
I think we
Harper.
can
Yeah,
all,
we
That
are-
is- it's very
we can all
counterintuitive.
agree on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, this isn't like an African country where like they have so much power that like they're able
it's
to
so
corrupt themselves and
Yeah,
take
no,
it.
we
right?
don't have that. We have
Yeah.
oversight.
We have a thing called
we have
democracy.
We have
so-
accountability. We have fair
President of
voting.
Rwanda's been pretty good for that, though.
Pardon?
President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame.
Yeah, no. Rwanda's gone through a lot of reform since the genocide.
Fair enough, and we can even do an episode on that. Whatever. It should be in the downloads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that was our show for this week. Thank you to everyone that tuned in, that messaged us live. Thank you to hopefully people from students from U of T and York as well tuned in to our show. Brand new episode of the Raben Report will be coming to you next week. You can also message us your ideas for show. We'd love to talk about topics that interest you. So we'll be back next week, same day, same time, same people. Have a great day, everyone.